Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode 3 of the inaugural season of the OKPA Fantasy Football Weekly Recap Show. I am your host, the financial specialist / self-proclaimed media officer, Andrew Redden, here to give you a little recap of what happened in the OKPA Fantasy Football League last week. Full disclosure, I'm actually surprised I'm here today on Sunday as I watched my team absolutely suck for the third week in a row. I said to myself, fuck these guys, fuck this league, no more show, I'm done. But as per usual, when I say that about OKPA and OKPA related things, which is quite frequently, here I am. I'm back. And I'm here to stay. So make sure that you like and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell so you never miss an episode. So before I change my mind like Squish did, I'm just kidding. Squish, hope all is well. Let's jump into the first section, matchups. In our first matchup, it was Hat Trick Mahomes. Brandon Hogue versus T Swift Beehole Eyes, Eric Muller. Final score 129.3 to 103.28. It appears that Muller's luck has finally ran out and his string of low-scoring wins is finally over after just 2. While Hogue really didn't have that good of a day with the exception of a couple of players, we'll get to that, Muller's 103 just wasn't enough and only would have beat Dave this week. Yes, only Dave. He only would have beat Dave, nobody else. No need to fact check it. Excuse me. James Conner, the resilient. Another strong showing. Just when we all thought that he was done after a poor week 1, he puts together 2 straight strong performances, including a 100-plus yard day and a touch for a 30.9 point game this week. But this matchup MVP goes to the GOAT, Patty. Oops. I'm sorry, Miss Mahomes. I mean Patrick Mahomes with a 42-point showing. 5 total touchdowns, including 1 on the ground for a great fantasy day. As for Muller, we can't really blame him for who he started, as he didn't have hardly anybody on the bench either, but not a great day. 4 starters, let me repeat that, 4 starters with single-digit performances. That's not going to cut it in the OKPA Fantasy Football League. On a positive note, however, Tommy Boy Brady with just shy of 300 yards and 3 touchdowns for 24 fantasy points. And Tyreek also was able to find the end zone for a 24-point showing of his own. Excuse me. My takeaways, it's hard for me to say that either of these teams are championship contenders. We all know Eric should probably be 0-3 right now. Maybe 1-2, just because of his easy matchups. He's 2-1. And Hogue is really walking on thin ice, kind of relying on James Conner week in and week out, because we know how injury prone he is. There's really not much there on the bench. I don't see Eric winning many more this year. And Hogue, he's going to make a playoff appearance like he usually does. But I'm not seeing the three-peat this year. Not with the current team anyway. Going to frog him a third apparently. The next matchup, the Cookie Monster, Andrew Redden, versus Joe Buck Yourself, Bo Swales. I'm just going to skip that one. Fine. 92.5 to 108.18. Okay, but I know everybody's here to listen to my logistics, to listen to my logic here. So let's just address the elephant in the room. To be fair. Minshew had 2 strong performances the first 2 weeks of the season, and he was facing the Dolphins in Jackson at home against the Dolphins, who sucked against the pass the first 2 weeks of the season. And for all of you bandwagon jumpers, horse dick riders, saying Josh Allen is always the greatest fantasy quarterback that ever fucking lived, how easily we forget how volatile he was last season. And the Rams' defense is nothing to cinch over here. Nonetheless, my quarterback situation is the least of my worries. And if for all of you that want, I made the wrong choice. There, I said it. I made the wrong fucking choice. Okay? I made the wrong choice. But that's the least of my worries. Godwin did find the end zone and ended up with 18 points. But he's already doubtful for next week with a hammy, so probably not going to see him. My boy Devontae, he missed the game. Hopefully he'll be back next week, though. Joe Mixon's dog shit. Mike Davis at least had a respectable showing. But with my luck, they'll probably recall fucking Cameron Artis-Payne or some shit like that to take his job next week. My team's absolutely disgusting. Swales gave me every opportunity to win this one. He only scored just north of 100 of himself. Beasley, which I talked shit on last week, he put up a respectable 17. But this week's matchup MVP goes to Nick Chubb, who dropped almost 30. I don't know what it is with these Cleveland running backs, just wanted to fucking shit on me. But nonetheless, I'm getting fucking 100 group me messages popping up right now, you motherfuckers. Nonetheless, he dropped a 30 bomb, had 108 on the ground and 2 touchdowns. That's it. Nothing else exciting with this one. It's a low-scoring game, and I just couldn't even win that one. So, my takeaways, Swales and I both suck. Next match. No, I'm just kidding. But honestly, it's not looking good for either of us, and we're going to need some Brandon Hogue type luck here if we want to even smell the playoffs this year. The next matchup, comeback season. You fuckers with your damn name changes. Like, do you not realize that I have to figure out who the hell this is? Okay, it was the Squish and Renaud co-op versus Asil Terry. Or something like it. Eric Janda. Final score 103.38 to 156.8. How the hell did Janda just score 150 plus? Also, I'll use this moment to welcome Big Mac back into the league. I'm getting text messages and shit now too. I'm losing concentration. Welcome back to the league, Big Mac. Happy to have you back. So the Squish Big Mac Co-op, they were kept out of the under 100 club for the week with the help of Derrick Henry. He put up a 37 bomb on the back of 119 rush yards and 2 scores. Quit fucking sending messages. Guru was also able to find the end zone and put up just south of 19 points. Janus squad was clicking on all cylinders after losing Barkley for the season. Russ had another phenomenal day with 5 passing touchdowns. Kenny Golladay caught a touchdown in his first game back from injury. But this matchup MVP goes to the Bucs defense, the first of 2 defenses to win the matchup MVP this week. The Bucs defense had 6 sacks and 2 picks for a 20-point day. Is this a 2010 Clearfield Bison defense out there or something? Damn! That's 22 more points than the opposing defense scored. And let me just repeat, they only scored 20, and it's 22 more than the opposing defense. My takeaways, though, Big Mac has some work to do if he wants to turn this program around. Omar really hasn't been himself so far this season. Not that I'm rolling him out by any means. And Gurley's kind of hit or miss. Henry is obviously a great asset to the team, but outside of that, I'm not super impressed. Going down Janda's roster, I'm actually not sure that the Barkley injury is going to be the downfall of the team this year. As long as a few of his late round guys are able to step up and continue to perform, he might be able to make something of this season. The next matchup, 2 and Stink Tim Hogue versus the Cleveland Steamers Ryan Butler. Final score 146.02 to 121.46. Pretty good matchup here overall. pretty much came down to which Seattle wide receiver keeper was going to have a better day. And it ended up being Tyler Lockett. He had 9 grabs for 100 yards and 3 touchdowns. Ty Boyd also had a busy day. He had another 10 grab performance. He's been getting a lot of work in that Cincinnati offense. Probably why Mixon's not doing shit. But he had 10 grabs for 125. But this matchup MVP goes to Dalvin Cook, who finally decided to return a first-round value with a 34-point day on the back of 181 total yards on the ground and a score. It is a sad day, however. Young Ho Koo is expected to miss some time with a groin injury. On Butler's side of the ball, however, Cooper Kupp had a solid day against Buffalo with 107 and a touch. And Edwards-Helaire showed off his receiving ability for the first time this year with 70 yards through the air for a total of 130 plus. My takeaways, Tim, pretty solid showing, especially with Matty Ice really not doing much. Dalvin Cook is going to have to continue to put these kind of games together in order for you to make a nice run in the playoffs. And I'm not sure I see it with how poorly the Vikings have been so far this season. As for Butler, a solid turnaround from his first 2 weeks, but there's still really not much there. Butler, go and get the whiskey and meet me at the bottom, because I think you and I are going to be stuck here all season long. The next matchup, Jalapeno a Spicy, Chad Zarat versus Schlitzberg, David Butler. 146.42 to 92.38. That's a 54-point spread. Good for this week's biggest blowout of the week. This league is it's fucked up this year. Chad's 2-1 and ranked number 2 overall. Like, what? I blame COVID. I really do. I mean, what else is there to explain it? I don't know. No one really stood out among the crowd for Chad. He had 4 pretty high-scoring performers that paced the week. Hopkins had another 10-catch game for 137, but couldn't find the end zone. Seems pretty common for him, but he's getting a lot of work from Kyler there. Singletary actually had 120 total yards, which shocked me at first, but then I remembered that Zach Moss didn't play, so Singletary still sucks. Rodgers looking like an MVP, but this matchup MVP goes to Keenan Allen. He didn't really do too much the first couple of weeks, but he sees 19 targets in this one. In a line of 13 catches for 132 and a touchdown. Maybe he and the young gun have a little connection there. I'm not sure. Dave sucked this week. He just did. 2 of his starters failed to even score a full point, and no one else really shined. Evans had 2 receiving touchdowns, but he only caught 2 total balls. Sanders had 100 plus total yards, but he didn't score a touchdown. Pretty rough showing this week, which is why he's receiving the poor performance of the week. My takeaways, I'll lick my cat's ass before I say, what the fuck am I even... Chad's not a fucking contender in this league is what I have written up here. I don't even know how I fucking worded it. Chad's not a contender in this league, and I'm never going to say that he is. So move on from that. His team's coming together pretty nicely. Melvin doesn't appear to be the answer that he's looking for at running back, but he should give him a couple weeks, and maybe the Bills will realize that Singletary needs some work. Like I said, he's not going to be a contender in this league. Dave's team struggled this week and really don't have much help on the bench, so maybe a few more wins this season. He's 1-2 right now, but I wouldn't put him above maybe 4-9 on the year. The next matchup, She Digs Mayfield, Matt Anderson versus Raindrop Crop Top. I just heard the garage door open, so I'm going to close the door before the wife comes home. Sorry about that. Matt Anderson versus Raindrop Crop Top, Derek Morgan. Final score 124.74 to 154.64. Pretty solid matchup here, but Demo ended up just being a little too much to handle for Matty. Matt's start of Rex Burkhead paid off, apparently. 3 total touchdowns and just shy of 100 total yards. This is the kind of shit that makes me want to walk off the Grand Canyon. Backwards. Like, what the fuck just happened? I don't know. I don't have anything to say about it. Calvin Ridley, I think he's thinking about a 2,000-yard season. He surpassed 100 for the 3rd straight week. Kelsey had a typical Travis Kelsey line with 6 catches for 87, but no touchdown this week. Dima really didn't have a single bad starter this week. Only one player failed to surpass 10 points for him, and that was his tight end, and he put up 9.8, so basically 10 points there. Allen Robinson may benefit from the quarterback change in Chicago with a 30-point day. Aaron Jones had another 20-plus point day. But this matchup, I told you there was going to be 2 defenses. The matchup MVP goes to the Colts defense for dropping 27 this week. They put up 2 touchdowns on the defensive side. I'm not going to check, and I encourage none of you to go check, but I'm pretty sure those 2 touchdowns are more touchdowns than my entire team had this week. My takeaways, I think this is a matchup of 2 playoff teams for sure. I said it last week. Matt's not going to have his typical 7-6, 6-7 record as he usually does. I see him probably around the 8-5, 9-4 mark, barring any significant injuries. I can't really say anything for Dima that I haven't already said before. I see him as a championship frontrunner as of now. Honestly, unless there's some bye weeks or something like that, I honestly don't know if he'll lose more than 1 or 2 games this year. I think he has a team to win the championship this year. On to the next matchup, Pelosi blowout Nick Garman versus Schuster. I just met her, Nick Redden. Battle of the Knicks. This one was a low-scoring battle. A low-scoring game, but a battle. 108.16 to 102.28. First off, congratulations to my brother on his very first OKPA fantasy football win. Even though he did talk shit on me this morning. So now I'm going to return the favor. Leave it to my brother to lie on the 2 most worthless positions in fantasy football to pick up his first win. Mason Crosby, the heckin' kicker, put up 16. And the Browns defense, Nick's secretly a Browns fan, put up 14. That's 28% of the total points for the week coming from his kicker and his defense. Garmin really fell off the wagon in a hurry. We went from, I'm going to score 160 points every week, to losing to a team with 108 points. Bob Woods had a pretty good day, 100-plus yards and a touchdown. But this matchup MVP goes to Austin Eckler. He had over 140 total yards and a rushing touchdown. He might benefit from the new quarterback as well. My takeaways, brother, congratulations on your very first OKPA fantasy football win. But don't get used to it. Don't get used to it. You're still in big trouble. Big trouble. I don't foresee you winning more than maybe 3 games this year total. Garmin, he had a bad week, especially because Cam didn't run for two touchdowns on the ground, which apparently Garmin was pretty set on him doing every single game this year, thinking that he was going to finish with a total of, 32 touchdowns there. Not going to happen. I do see his team being pretty solid, though. I consider him a definite playoff contender who, he might be able to make some noise in the playoffs. Last game I got on my docket here, I think, Team America, Michael Morgan versus Rookies R Us, Cameron Ketchen. Final score 135.9 to 151.18. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to continue to say Ketchen isn't going to win another game for the rest of the season. I don't care if he's 11-1 going into week 13. I'm still going to say he's never going to win another game the rest of the season because he's not. His team's not good. Okay? This is probably the highest scoring matchup of the week and one that I didn't see turning out this way until Sunday night. I saw Ho giving me shit in the chat about Kyler Murray, but honestly, I think we've seen him at his best already this year. Sure, he ran for another touchdown, but as Garmin learned, quarterbacks don't run for touchdowns every single week. He threw 3 picks against Detroit, so that's not so hot, you know? Steve Gostkowski, after not being able to fucking make he couldn't be able to make it through a freaking, 10-yard field goal. Chad could probably kick better than him. the first couple weeks of the season. He made 3 50-plus yard field goals for a 25-point day. And Kareem Hunt, he finds the end zone again for 16-plus. As for catching, Darrell Henderson had a solid day with 114 on the ground and a touchdown. Dak threw for 450-plus again for the second week in a row. For this matchup MVP, it's an obvious one. I don't care if you call him Kamara or Camara. Alvin Kamara is a freak. 44-plus and averaging over 44 for the past 2 weeks. This guy's a stud. Hell, he already had 58 rushing yards in this one and still put up 44 points. Woof. My takeaways, although Mike didn't pick up his third win this week, it was a good loss. It was kind of like someone losing to Bama in college football. Yeah, they lost, but we really aren't going to drop them in the rankings too far. I still see Mike as the top half of the division team and probably securing a playoff bid. Now, I know that I just said losing to Bama, but catching's no fucking Bama. Okay? Let's just get that out of the way. Camara isn't going to maintain his 44 points per game pace, and this team is eventually going to regress. Ketchin might win 5 this year, no more than 5, but he's missing the playoffs in his rookie season. So that's a wrap. I feel like it took me 9 years to write this script, so I'm glad I'm finally reading this line because that means I'm done. As I did last week, I'll be back tomorrow or maybe Thursday. I don't heckin' know. But sometime before the game starts on Thursday, I'll be back with the projection show. Make sure that you ring the bell so that you know when I post it. I'll also let you know in the chat there. Hope all of you guys really enjoyed this edition of the OKPA Fantasy Football Weekly Recap Show. As noted at the beginning of the show, you can catch me here every Tuesday, even though I'll probably quit on Sunday again over the course of the season. I'll see you all tomorrow, or maybe Thursday. I don't know. See ya. I want to see ya. Bye.